Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. Matt, Kim, Peter Saddington here.
What's up, guys? It is great to be with you on this amazing Thursday morning.
For those of you that are new to the pod, yes, we release the episode every Thursday morning at 5 a.m.
You got it. For all you early risers, hustlers, grinders, and people who want to get their shit done.
We had a crazy week.
It's almost impossible to fully communicate the last 7 days that have transpired.
Before we get into that, I just want to make a quick thank you to you, Peter. This would not be possible at all without you.
Oh, well,
I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I want everyone listening that's been a part of the journey from the beginning, that Peter makes zero money doing this, that it is a complete selfless act, that he is an extremely busy person, has his own venture fund. He has a nationally ranked son that go-karts. That's a lot of time. That you have a beautiful daughter, that she is archer now.
She won her first tournament last week.
Amazing. And with all of that, you find time in your week, every week, to show up here and do this episode with me. Thank you.
Thanks. And also thanks to Will back there, our sound and our engineer. Thanks for saying that, Matt. Really appreciate it. I think I don't need to wax poetic on it, but I really enjoy this. I really enjoy supporting you. And what's really exciting to me is that this is a platform that is filling a niche in the market where there is absolute amazing demand. And we're seeing that over the last 7 days. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of it.
And thank you to everyone that's been here since the beginning. A lot of them will remember when we were at 100 viewers.
That's
we
true.
were going backwards sometimes, right?
Yep.
Instagram was going nowhere. YouTube Shorts was 20 views at a time.
That's right. And I think it's nice to remember, like, we only really started this in February.
Correct.
Right? February-ish. And so it's been a wild journey over the last 4 months or so. And we've had our ups and downs and our growing pains of sorts, but it's been amazing, the response and not just America, but a global response. And that is the thing that excites me the most about this.
I think the things that we talk about, it's not a America-only issue. And I want to be clear for people who are maybe new or don't understand, and they think, oh, this is a political show. It's not a political show. People that come in think it's a news show. It's not a news clip show. We are a life show.
Yes. And not only do we say that it's a show about life, but we also use the word movement a lot. So kind of unpack that for us a little bit.
I think there's this idea, and the premise of what we believe is that society, establishment, we love that word, establishment, they have left everyone behind. And there is community, a movement of people standing up and saying, enough is enough. And I don't know why people started following us, what it was about the way we approach things that resonate with people, but somehow it has. And to everyone that joined now, appreciate you. It's amazing. I mean, just thinking about it, it makes me so emotional, because we thought that if we really work hard and we grind and we do our best and we're consistent, maybe in 3 years, someone would listen.
You're not wrong. we were because Matt and I have been in the game of entrepreneurship long enough to know that the reality is that you can become successful in any endeavor you choose. You just got to be willing to put a decade deep plus into it. And so we came into this podcast truly looking at it from a lens of reality, which is this could take years to get off the ground. And we have these hypotheses and these theses of what we believe will work, how the market's going to respond, where the demand is. But frankly put, what has been, I think, one of the most humbling things about this is the fact that out of all the shenanigans and all the machinations and all the planning that we've considered and all the strategies we've considered, I think what's resonating the most with people is just the fact that we're able to speak from our hearts, which is fascinating because it's the least planned thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, can you believe it? That if you just go out there and tell the truth, people want to hear it.
That's a powerful thing, though.
And all the people who are content creators, not to dig on anybody, who feel like they have to say what they're supposed to say, have to say what the narrative is. So many people out there, so many people scared to speak out when they know something's not right.
Absolutely.
And the reality is, if you're just honest with the people, if you're honest with the internet, if you're honest with the entire society, people like that shit.
It's fascinating to say it this way, Matt, but it's almost as if the market and the world has lacked so much honesty that the simple fact of you saying, you know what, I'm just going to be truthful. I'm just going to be honest about my perspective, my views, and my reality. The fact that truth has been so absent from the social commentary sphere that the simple act of you just being honest and truthful about your experience is like a shining light in the dark. It's amazing.
I think people are so sick of their governments lying to them, their corporations lying to them, their employers lying to them, their friends, their neighbors, everyone lying to them. And when you go online, it's supposed to be refreshing. It's supposed to be enjoyable. You don't want to feel like the people that you're trying to spend your time with are lying to you too. People are sick of it. I think that's what this is proving.
And if I could add to that, I think a part of it, and you correct me if I'm wrong from your experience, but I feel like people are finally getting and seeing the wrapper of the internet. Which what I mean when I say wrapper, it's like every time I get online, it's just I'm into the propaganda machine. Like, when is it going to end? And so it's refreshing to have people that are truly outside the propaganda machine. They don't have. I think we've made it clear on this podcast. We don't have any agenda here. We're not selling you fucking, male enhancement pills. Not yet, at least.
Not yet,
right? We're not selling you some scammy get rich quick scheme. We're just talking about our truth. There are things that are happening in the world, and we believe it's important to talk about it
along the basis of our personal life experience, based on the family around us, based on what we've been through success, failures, lots of failures, some
lots of
amazing successes as well, and a combination of all of that. That's our perspective, just living life.
Absolutely. So we've had a whirlwind of the last, not only 48 hours have been crazy, but the last 7 days have been amazing. So I just want to back up and probably ask the question that a lot of people might be wondering if they're clicking on this video is, how are you doing, man? How are you doing with all this? Well, you guys don't, let me give a little bit of preamble. This man is receiving thousands of inbound. Like, I've been in this position before, but this is nutso. The amount of inbound requests. Let's talk about some categories. Podcast interview requests, people wanting to fly in. By the way, we're going to have some guests that are flying in from different states, maybe even different countries, to come podcast with Matt. Guest appearances, sponsor opportunities. I mean, it's almost too much. So how are you doing? How are you feeling? Because to get even more context, before this podcast, Matt was like, "Can you give me 10 minutes? let me just get my bearing here." So yeah, a lot has been going on, Matt. How are you doing, brother?
I'm feeling truly blessed, truly humbled. It's crazy. I mean, crazy is an understatement of what this last week has been like. And I've said this before, and it feels so. It's one of those things where I don't want to say just because I'm saying it, but I really feel it, is that I'm nobody. And for people to be listening to what I have to say, what we have to say, that they're taking to heart the messages that we're trying to put out there.
So you're getting all of this amazing inbound. Frankly, you've barely have time to sleep, barely have time to just get stuff done. That's part of your natural, usual schedule with family, kids, golf. I see you still getting some time out in the golf course.
Squeeze it in a little bit.
Got to squeeze that in. And so, how are you taking all this inbound? What is the way that you're kind of managing all this inbound and being able to say, what do you do with all of this, I guess is the question. So how are you kind of taking it all on?
So a couple of people have reached out to do interviews, podcasts, etc. And they always say, okay, this is interesting. Let's do something. Give us a contact of your manager and we'll have the teams connect. And I'm like, manager?
You know what I'm saying? There's a 3-man show, bro.
This is it. This is what we have. Because people see the studio and they think, oh, you guys must be a big production. We literally built this studio by hand. It was a project of passion, just something that we wanted to do. We started with one wall and just slowly built over time. If you look at our first episode, none of this was here.
That's true. That's true.
And we didn't know how to use any of this equipment, just figured it out. YouTube University.
YouTube University, absolutely, guys.
And we just put it together, you know?
So I'll keep going back to this inbound because I'm sure people are going to be wondering, like, where's Matt going to be next? What is he thinking about doing next? I know we can't spill the beans because a lot of stuff is in the works, but tell the movement, tell the community, tell the audience, like, what are some of the things that are on your heart that you're really excited about getting into now that we have all this amazing inbound and all this demand? So what are you thinking about doing next?
And this is something that I'm torn on. We'll touch on the Steve Bannon podcast, which is crazy.
I'm still speechless about it.
Steve Bannon's team reached out on Saturday, and they said, Steve wants you on the podcast. He likes what you're doing, and would you consider coming on?
Did they give you context around how they found you?
Just found me. Just saw a clip.
Just found you, which we're going to get into the numbers as well, but yes, they just found you. Okay.
And it was Saturday night, and I said, I got to get back to you. Saturday is for my family.
The right thing to say.
And on Sunday morning, I was like, damn it. Should I? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if they don't call me on Monday?
Well, it ended up working out. And
then on Monday, I spoke to them. I spoke to Grace, and I told her I want to FaceTime. I don't know them. I've never been in this position before. I've never had people reach out like this before. I need to know if I can trust the people I want to speak to. And it's not even about their content. Am I going to get screwed here?
Yeah, I mean, they could show you in a negative light for sure. There's always that chance.
So I wanted to FaceTime her. And we FaceTime, and we spoke eye to eye, and I felt really comfortable.
Who is this again?
Grace, Korean-American woman, who is the COO and CFO of Steve Bannon's War Room. Actually, I think of his entire organization.
Are you at liberty to tell us just a little bit of context around this COO of Steve Bannon? I think she's kind of had a journey of her own. I don't want to spill any beans here, but
I would love to hopefully have her on the pod soon, and it looks like something that may happen one day. But she started with him very early on as a bookkeeper, and somehow through loyalty, hard work, she is now in charge of all the finances for everything that he does, which is amazing. She was also part of the grand jury when he got in trouble with the feds, and to be able to make it through that, she's tough.
Oh, she has to be.
She is a soldier, and I really liked her. I thought she was fantastic. So I trusted her, which is why I went on the show. I didn't know anything about. I know the show, I know him, but I don't really know the context of what's going to happen. I didn't talk to a producer, nothing.
You don't know if it's going to be a rug pull. Right?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
but I trusted her, and I went on the show, and they're like, "Yeah, come on in the next few days." Great. Awesome. That sounds great. I can prep. I can be ready.
Exactly.
Maybe like get my hair cut. I don't know. It's a big show.
Yeah.
And 4:45, they call me and like, Steve wants you on right now.
This is on Monday, right?
On Monday.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean right now?
You're like, dude, I just finished taking a dump, man. Like, give me some peace, bro.
Like, we need you on the show right now, and he wants you to be the lead on the show. I said, what time does the show start? 5 o'clock? It's 4:45. You know?
No prep time for you, baby.
None.
Show up.
So I opened up a laptop, and I went on, and I did the best I could. I think if I had to rate my performance, for a lack of a word, if I want to rate my showing on his podcast, which is a big production, I give myself a 6.2.
You know, you said that in Discord, and I didn't want to be snarky, but I'll be honest with you. When I saw the 6.2, the first thing that I thought about was, where the hell is this 0.2 coming from? Why can't we just make it 6 out of 10? So I have to ask the question: what was the 0.2? What was the logic behind that?
Okay, I am a big fan of the One Bite Pizza Reviews with Dave Portnoy, and he rates pizzas like you rate figure skating.
Yep.
There is never a 10, because what if you have something better?
True.
All scores should be a decimal because it gives you range. So 6.2.
So for all of you guys out there, if you want to see a Matt Kim on the Steve Bannon show, definitely check out the Discord. Join the movement. You can see the link in Discord. I think we'll also be probably putting that link in the show notes here, so people might be able to see that as well. I think some people would be really curious about seeing how you did and how you fared on Steve Bannon's show, which for everyone out there, I'm still just amazed at the fact that we have been humbly plodding along, creating this podcast, being diligent, consistent, and disciplined to do it. And then suddenly, it's so weird to say it, but it's literally 0 to hero. I mean, come
I don't know
on.
about hero.
Well, let's be honest. Usually you stair step these things, right? You go from one podcast, everyone's trying to work together, another nobody interviewing a nobody, and then you might get some kind of regional or somewhat popular guy, and then you keep growing. But the fact that we have had so many views, and for those of you guys out there, we're talking about hundreds of millions of views.
That's crazy. It's even just
like
hearing
200 plus million views in just the last week. Probably more impressions. We're probably talking about maybe even close to 500 million, because we have clips that are 10 million, 20 million. And they're getting spread out all over the place. We don't get access to the Asia demographics, and we're getting inbound from Asia.
Yeah,
we're spreading around like Asia like wildfire, probably behind the iron curtain of the VPN and the Chinese firewall. But I mean, you're blowing up, man. It's amazing. Just give me your reaction when you hear 200 plus million views in the last, let's say, 48 hours. How does that resonate with you? How does that sit with you?
I feel like
it's amazing, man.
I feel like I have a larger responsibility now.
Interesting how that comes about.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted at all, nor do I take it lightly, because words matter. And I try to be extremely careful, especially on the Reels on Instagram, which is kind of where it started going off. I try to choose my words very carefully on what I do. And not that I'm trying to censor myself.
Yeah.
It's that I know that each word means something. And you get 90 seconds to give a really thorough thought.
Yeah.
So trying to put a thorough thought in 90 seconds, not the easiest thing to do.
You know what? When it comes to your Reels, I think a lot of people are resonating with the fact that you're willing to talk about what's going on, but coming from a posture, which I love, by the way, a posture of questioning, a posture of being inquisitive, being curious, right? We hear that a lot from public speakers. Stay curious, my friend, right? Stay interested, right? Don't think you know it all. These types of things. But what's really, really exciting and really, I think, empowering from the videos that you're making is you truly are coming at it from a curious standpoint. You're truly wondering, like, what is going on, right? And I think a lot of people are in the same place where they've been part of the matrix. They go into the meta. They go into their social media and they clearly see the propaganda machine. And then there's suddenly this guy named Matt Kim, who's like literally kind of at a meta level saying, okay, guys, I see the shit going on. What's actually happening here? I think a lot of people resonate with that.
And I think I try to word it in a way where, depending on your perspective, depending on where you are in life, there are multiple ways you can look at it, which is why I think it's so interesting. And I want people to walk away from it thinking, not taking my word for it, or not believing what I say, but really like taking a step back, you're like, and maybe a little bit of reflection. I think that's what I would like to accomplish. I don't know if we're getting there yet, but that's the goal.
Well, a big part of this podcast for everyone that's joined and everyone that's listening is there's two, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are multiple pillars, but there are two very prominent pillars in this podcast. And the first is that this is a movement. We're not trying to build this incel community, right? This is a movement, and secondarily, it's a movement of free thinkers.
That's exactly right.
So unpack that a little bit for us. What's this movement all about, and this free thinker thing idea? Like, why is that such an important part of our narrative in this podcast?
It's something that we question all the time. Where are we getting the information from? Why do we believe what we're told to believe? And what was the intent of the person telling that to you? Question everything. Everything is not as it seems, and really use your own life experience. We talk about things like COVID, and people are telling you everyone's dying. And then we'd look around and be like, well, everyone's kind of still there.
Yeah. World's still spinning.
Think for yourself, right? We don't want to tell you what to think. If you disagree with us, that's amazing. I love it if you disagree with us. If you agree with us, even better, right? Make your own decisions. These are our perspectives. These are our thoughts based on our own life experiences. And we encourage you to do the same. Meaning, I'm a huge fan of Trump. I'm a Trump guy. We're both relatively conservative. I'm a Trump guy. You're not as much. You're a little more apolitical.
I'm more apolitical, but to be fair, you and I have both conceded that I love Trump's business acumen.
Correct.
Yes.
And I don't care if you like him or you don't like him. I think everyone has the ability to like whoever they want. This is America.
Peace.
That's what the democratic process is about.
Peace.
If you support Biden, I don't care. I think you're stupid, but it's up to you. Right?
I mean, the guy did talk. Did you see the clip? I think it was just yesterday or today. The news cycle moves so fast where he literally, I don't know if he was mumbling it under his breath, but he's like, I like to sell like trade secrets to our enemies. It's like, well, you don't even joke about that.
I think he said something about building a bridge across the Indian Ocean.
Oh,
was that the other one that happened?
This guy's not even cogent, man.
But if that's what you believe, it's your right. But do it because that's what you believe, not because someone told you to believe it. Don't read the headlines and think that's the fact. The headlines are bullshit, right? They're there to force how you believe, to mold your mind. And the goal of everything that we do here is to get you to think and break out of that shell.
I like hearing that. Absolutely. That is such a big part of the model that we're trying to encourage and aspire to be, and hopefully inspire others to be as well, is to be a free thinker. Be someone who is willing to question the narrative and consider the motives and choose with personal responsibility how you in your own life are going to respond, whether good or bad. But the point is don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't become a bot or an NPC, right? A non-playable character where you're just consuming the rhetoric and the propaganda. There's no value in that to your life. And so this whole movement, if I were to summarize it in one sentence, would be the movement is a free thinking movement of personal responsibility and finding your own way outside the propaganda is the way that I'm looking at it.
And bring back families.
Bring back. I'll say this will be Peter's version is bring back conservative values. I've had people, and I think I've talked about this on podcasts, but I don't mind repeating it. When people ask me, why are you conservative? Because they automatically assume conservative means political. I think you understand when I say conservative, it's not political at all. It is I value conservative values. And you might say, well, Peter, what are those? I value the family. I value close-knit communities. I value education. I value personal responsibility, right? These are conservative values that I want to conserve. I want to keep families together. I don't like broken families, these types of things. So whenever I say I'm conservative, it's because I want to conserve good traditional values that, in my opinion, serve the family and serve the individual right.
For the last week, I've spent 2 to 3, 4 hours a night responding to DMs.
Yes, you have.
I've been trying to respond to as many people as I can. If you message me and I didn't get back to you, I'm trying. I swear I am.
This guy really is. He's up till like 2:00 in the morning, guys, responding to messages when every time he responds to one message, he's receiving about 6,000 in return. It's almost an impossible task.
And because of that, I've slept, I think in the last week, maybe average 3 to 4 hours a night.
Probably less, guys.
And today I was we're recording at nighttime. Before I went home, around 5 or 6 o'clock, I told Will, I need to go home. I need to rest. I need to sleep because I'm running on nothing. He's like, yeah, you need to go home. We need to record up tonight. Go home, get some rest, get your energy back, and you will be fine. I went home and my daughter was waiting for me. How do you explain to your daughter that I'm tired? You can't.
You can't?
You can't.
You can't?
I was like, I got to suck it up and I got to give her 100%. There's no excuse. I can't say I'm too tired. I can't explain to a 10-month-old daughter that daddy's tired because he's busy pretending to be famous. Can't do that.
You can't.
So I went home. I gave her my all. My wife, God bless her soul, saw how tired I was, took the baby out for like 45 minutes. I got to lay down for a little bit, get up, give her some dinner, wash her, spend more time with her, and straight here. No excuses. That's part of what we talk about a lot.
And man, I'll tell you, out of everything that we've talked about so far in this podcast episode, what you just said, I value the most. And I'm going to recontextualize what Matt just said, but it's so important to me as a man, as a family man, as a father, as a husband. Like what you just said, you glazed over it so quickly and you said it so smoothly. But guys, what Matt just communicated, frankly, is what I care about most in my heart, which is the fact that given all of this work that you have to do, all of this viral growth that's happening, all the inbound, all the pull, like you're being pulled in 9,000 different directions right now. You realize and understand that you have a child, a beautiful, beautiful daughter. I love her to bits. She laughs at my jokes, I think, too, which is cool. You know and understand that you still have to give 100% to her.
No matter what.
And that's the thankless work of a real man, if I can say. And I'm not stroking your ego here for stroking ego's sake, but I want to encourage you to continue to give 100% to that little girl because, frankly, at the end of the day, all your accolades, all the viral, all the success, she ain't gonna give a shit about that if she don't have daddy.
She has no idea what's going on. And I cannot go home and tell her, I gotta go respond some tweets. It's just not a thing.
Which one of the things on my heart to ask you about was your wife, if you're willing at liberty to share. I'm curious, what does your spouse think about all this?
She's been, at first she didn't get it because let's start from the beginning. All right. Last week we had one clip that kind of started to move. I think it did like 1 million views. Okay. That's exciting. Me and Will were like, oh, wow, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, but we've had a couple of those on TikTok, though.
And then we had another one do like 2 million. Mm-hmm. We're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then the third one did like 500,000. Another one did like 400,000. Whoa. And on Friday, I came in and I've been jotting notes. I take a few notes before I record these things. And I record them specifically for Instagram. And I think that's really what the difference was, first off. That most people will take their long form content and repurpose it for Instagram and put that on Instagram, put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok. And the idea is you do it once and you kind of lazy out for the rest of it.
You syndicate it out. Yep.
I don't know. That didn't seem right to me after a while. Instagram is where the most people are on a daily basis, bigger than ever else. And the fact that no one's talking to the audience there directly, I thought that was weird. So I made one video kind of there, and that did well. And I did another one, and I realized that's what people want. Instagram is a huge platform. It's where a lot of people consume their main content, and no one is talking to them directly. And I realized that's not just Instagram. These people are feeling forgotten, not by only the content creators that they consume content of. They're feeling lost and forgotten by everybody.
Yeah, the platform,
society, everybody. And I was like, I don't think that's the right thing to do. People are people. People want to be heard. People want their voices heard. People want their ideas out there. And so I started making these, just talking directly to people on Instagram. And I started going up. On Friday, I had these notes and I was going to make this video about a submarine on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And on Thursday night, it was like maybe 11 o'clock, and I've been recording really late at night. And my eyes were really tired, and I was like, oh, not tonight. I need to sleep. So I went to bed. I woke up, and I walked in, and Will goes, hey, what about that sub? Right? And I had these notes. I had thought about this already. So I started telling him, like, what I thought. And he was like, that needs to be a video. I was like, oh, like, I'm tired. Like, we were going to do it last night. I'll do it the weekend. And Will was like, dude, go record it right now.
Yeah. Hey, that's the value of having a guy on your shoulder like Will. Like, come on, fuck stick, let's go.
Yeah, he's like, get off your ass, do it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So we did it, and I recorded it. And, when we record, it's like one take stuff. We don't redo. There's no heavy editing. We're a very small team. That's it.
We're natural, man.
And after I did, I was like, and I put it up, and I said to him, man, maybe I should have done a second take. And he's like, hey, it's fine. Like,
it's fine.
No, it's fine. Like, how many people are going to watch it anyway?
20 million views later.
All of a sudden, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million.
Yeah.
And I think like Friday, 30,000 people follow on Instagram. Friday, 40,000 people. Saturday, Sunday, 50,000 people.
Yeah, 60,000 people, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we almost didn't even put it up.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm going to get back to the question. Your
What
wife
was the
is-
question?
What does your wife think about all this?
So in the beginning, she was like, oh, like, that's cute. Like, you have some people and you're growing. That's great.
Which, by the way, just to give some context and some extra props for everybody out there, Matt and his wife have had success in the social world and video world before, focusing mostly on exotic cars. So you've had a taste of this in a different market segment before, but certainly not at the size that we're experiencing right now.
Not
So
even the same game.
How is she responding to this? Because let's be honest, the social political commentary world is not somewhere that I would generally expect your wife to be hanging out usually, right?
Well, at first she thought it was like, okay, like, it's growing. Good for you. And then the weekend, she's like, wait, how many people? You know?
It's like one of those moments of like, wait, you make how much money now?
And then she saw me do the clip on Steve Bannon, and she was like, you need to sit up. You need to look forward.
Oh, bro! She's
You know,
like,
you need to get a haircut.
she's shotgun driving you, man. She's like, hey, bro, like, come on. If we're going to look good, let's look good, bro.
Yeah, she was like, get it together. You know, clean up a little bit, take a shower.
That's her job. Her job is to make sure that the honey bunches of oats is looking good on screen, baby.
My wife is a road dog. Ride or die.
She is
I
ride
love
or
her.
die.
She's awesome.
She is ride or die. She has watched you do all types of experiments, shenanigans, life experiments, and notwithstanding the fact that entrepreneurial life is the most unknown variable life humanly possible.
Ups and downs constantly.
I mean, you have to be a ride or die chick to hang out with an entrepreneur who is willing to throw his life out there to make something happen with, frankly, no guarantee of success.
None.
Right? Most people, women and men, like to have some sort of grounding, which is why full-time salary man jobs are the mainstay, right? Right? And so she's with you on this. If you were to ask her today, like questions around, hey, because she knows of other political commentators that are successful and that are viral, that are all over the web. What do you think her take would be to think about you being one of those kind of one of the kind of the mainstays in the political commentary world? What do you think she'd think about that?
Well, I don't think that's something I want to do anyway.
Ooh, okay.
I don't think I'm built for commentary.
Tell me more.
So it was an honor to be on Steve Bannon's forum. It was. And I learned a lot. I didn't enjoy it that much. Not because I didn't enjoy him. I didn't enjoy the process, or I didn't enjoy all the production people it was such a cool experience. But you get two questions or one question, you're supposed to give some talking points, and you move on. That's not what I do. I like conversation. I like to talk to people.
You like long form.
I like long form or, long thoughts. I don't want to feel like I'm just talking point.
I mean,
It's just not my vibe.
fair enough, peace. But to those that have found you, and if we want to respect those who've come on board, who are now following the Matt Kim podcast, thanks for being here, guys. Love your support. You're helping out the movement, and hopefully you're helping yourself, which is really the key, is you're helping yourself and you're growing yourself. For those who found you through Steve Bannon, they might be disappointed in hearing something like this. So how would you respond to them? Because they'd be like, hey, man, we want to see more of this.
And I'm not saying I would never do it. I don't think it's something that I would, because you see some podcasters or people that kind of grow a little following, and you'll see them do a quick segment on Fox, and you go see them do a segment here, and they go in and they become a talking head. I have no interest in spending my life as a talking head. None. And that's so weird because my Instagram reels are literally a talking head.
But it's different mediums. It's different mediums. There's different controls around it, right?
I say what I'm thinking, what I want to say around my own idea, what I want to put out there. And it's not like there's a huge amount of preparation before I put any of these together. I am literally, this is what I'm thinking about at the moment, or this is an issue or something that weighed heavy on my heart on that day. And I just try to clarify my thought and I put it out there.
I think you might be disappointing a lot. Since we've grown by hundreds of thousands of followers in the last, you might be disappointing hundreds of tens of thousands of people who found you. So I'm going to challenge you here. And that's part of my job is to be honest and challenge where I need to challenge. I would challenge you here, Matt, and say it might be too early and too soon to call because Steve Bannon is one.
Of course.
you could go on other shows and really enjoy not being a talking head, but enjoy being able to piecemeal, I think, salient points that matter to you. And I think for you, for you to be able to channel what matters to you and not maybe give in or sell out a little bit towards their narrative, I think could be a great way for you to balance the need that they have for you to be a talking head and a color commentary person, but also feel fulfilled and enjoy it as well, because you're not giving in a little bit to the propaganda or not giving a little bit into the narrative that they're trying to create. So I challenge you and say, don't give up yet. I enjoyed watching you on Steve Bannon.
Thank you.
I am maybe his #1 fan other than his wife and his kid right now, soaking this up. I want to see you on more of these shows, and I bet for everyone out there that might be watching and listening, some of you guys would agree with me as well. So let us know in the comments, man.
I think in order to do well in those type of situations, you need to be a point maker. I don't think I'm a point maker.
Maybe I should just go on.
You would be very good on those. I think that's your calling. You're much better at that.
Maybe we should just...
I'm going to like call Peter and I'll get him on. I think that's probably better. You'd be better at that. I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories. I like to tell a story with a message. And you can't do that when they give you a question and you have 3 seconds to respond or 3 minutes to respond. It's not what I do. You know, I like to tell a story.
So let's extrapolate to the future here. Let's move to the future and let's do a look back. If we're talking about narratives, you love telling stories. You're great at telling these stories. What would be the story of this month? What would be the story of this moment in time for the Matt Kim podcast? If you were to move yourself forward a year, 12 months from now, and you look back at these moments, because let's be honest, this last 7 days have really been a pivotal moment and milestone for this podcast. How would you like to look back at these moments, and what would you say?
Remember why people started following to begin with.
Stay grounded.
I think we go back to this. I've read thousands of messages in the last week.
Understatement. Tens of thousands, probably.
And the message is clear. People are feeling forgotten, feeling lost, feeling left behind by society. People are feeling lost. People are feeling lied to. And that's really it. I think being able to give a voice to that, and I've had so many people, and it's not just conservatives that are reaching out. There are so many people that I would call extremely liberal. Every color, even people with she, her in their bio, the he, hims, the she, hers, the they, thems, even them, they're reaching out.
It's true.
I have, celebrities reaching out privately, which is crazy because they don't want to be known that they are supporting this kind of movement.
Right.
Because they're not ready to put their hand. They don't know if I'm legit. They don't know if this is a real thing, but they kind of want to see what's going on. And I got a lot of them from like some pretty big names.
No doubt.
Saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Keep what you're doing. I've even had people say specifically, I would love to support you publicly, but understand I can't. And the fact that people live in that fear, people live that they can't support what they want to support, that they can't have the ideas that they have, it's crazy to me. I mean, what kind of world are we living in that is allowed and that we just assume that's how life is now, whatever.
It's been, if I can summarize it up, I think a lot of what has happened is it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Yeah, there's no abrupt change or moment where you're like, hey, I think today on Tuesday I've sold my soul. No one wakes up and it's like, I sold my soul. It's a slow progression of death by 1,000 cuts where we don't say that one thing. And then we self-censor here. And then we second-guess our comment here. We don't volunteer our voice here. And then suddenly years go by and you're like, shit, I don't actually say anything that's on my mind anymore. I don't think I'm honest with anybody anymore. And frankly, maybe the most scary thing is I don't think I'm honest with myself anymore. So I think I'm not putting words in everybody's mouth here, but I think I can say generally that many people have kind of slowly died by 1,000 cuts. And now we're at this point, especially post-lockdown, where everyone went insane and, hanging out by themselves and really had moments to realize, like, who the fuck am I? What's going on here? I think we're hitting a pivotal moment in the culture where people are truly waking up. They're asking the right questions. And I was talking with my wife about this. I use the word seekers. I don't know if that resonates with you, but I think there's a lot of seekers out there that are just like, is there somebody that I can connect with that's saying something that I might just agree with, and I don't feel like I'm going insane by saying this, right? It's almost like people need a proxy voice. And Matt, you're that proxy voice for the voice in their head that's shouting at them, but they no longer can trust the voice anymore because they've shut down and they've died by 1,000 cuts. Is that fair? Do you think that might be one of those issues?
I thought it was very interesting that people, especially from like extremely liberal areas, from LA, Seattle, Hawaii, which is a very liberal area.
Yes.
People will message me like, Matt, I feel like I'm the only one that feels this way. I feel like everyone around me is so like drinking the Kool-Aid and I'm the only one. And they all feel alone. And I message everyone the same, kind of. I've had so many messages from other people in Hawaii. He could be your neighbor. You guys just don't talk about it. You are not alone. You guys are literally everywhere.
That's a powerful statement.
In LA, in Hawaii, in Seattle, in these areas that these people that are like, what the hell's going on? Something's not right. And they're so scared to put it out into the world. They're waking up and going, maybe there is somebody here. And I think that's really what triggered people. You know, when we had the clip on COVID and the one that we talked about family, about the people that were alienated by their families. The amount of messages I got from people saying, I was that family. My mom doesn't talk to me. My brother doesn't talk to me. I've lost my friends because I didn't want to get the shot. You know, and I'm so glad someone was able to just put it out there because even with that alone, I feel at least a little bit vindicated.
I got a couple of inbound because at the end of that clip,
Yes.
I was like, people owe me an apology. I didn't get any apologies, just for the record, but I got a couple people who DM'd me and was like, Peter, I think you're right. If I'm in a similar position like you, I feel like the world owes me an apology, you know, because I stuck to my guns type of deal. So people are listening, people are watching it. But I want to go to something you just said because I think it's so crucial. Is you said that this movement of free thinkers in a lot of ways is revealing to the world that you're not alone in this idea. And in many cases, someone would go as far as to say that in many cases, it's the silent majority, actually.
I think so.
And so you might be tapping into being one of the many voices that are out there, but a prominent voice now for the silent majority who is looking for someone who is willing to model and be maybe even brave enough to say what everyone else is thinking. And so if you're feeling that what we're talking about is resonating with you and the free thinker idea and model, what would someone do? What does a free thinker do in today's world? Like, how would you encourage or inspire someone who wants to be a free thinker, who might be on the sideline saying, you know, I have self-censored myself. I have not been able to freely express myself the way I want to. What would your advice be to those individuals who are looking for a model of, and certainly you and I are unfettered to be able to say whatever we want. So we're certainly a good model there. But what would you say to those individuals who are listening and saying, you know what, maybe I can do this. Maybe I'm not alone.
Speak out. They can't cancel everybody. What if everyone went out on their own platforms, on their own socials and said, this is bullshit? If everyone did it, were they to cancel everyone? Who's left?
They can't.
Who's left? Nobody.
I wish we'd do that with taxes. It'd be great if everyone out there just like, don't pay anymore.
Just
please.
kidding, government. I'm going to give you your money.
I mean, we got to pay the mafia, but you understand my point for all you guys out there. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think if everyone just stood up and said, enough is enough, you can't hold everyone down. You can't. It's just not possible. There's too many of us. People just think they're alone, but you're not. And they divide you to make you feel like you're alone.
That's a good point.
They want you to feel like you're the outlier, and they give you all this agenda, all this propaganda to make you feel like you're the crazy one.
Yes.
But that's how they control you. If you look around, there are so many people just like you that notice something is not right, that feel the pressure from tech, feel the pressure from government. And I think COVID was the awakening for everybody. If COVID did not make you question life just a little bit, something's wrong with you. How do you not notice something's not right?
I think you're absolutely on the button. I think COVID. Let me just create a bifurcation here. COVID. If we look at it holistically, what would you say? Good or bad? Let's expound it, because I don't look at it as COVID. I think of it as lockdown. Lockdown was the real thing that happened. We all got locked down because of this phantom death knell that was out there, right? So if you were to summarize it up in one word, good or bad, long tail, COVID lockdown, a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't have a one-word answer, but I'll give you an expanded answer.
Sure.
It depends on how people react to it now. If there are lockdowns and there are government control and their mind manipulation and the spreading of the mind virus, if they win, obviously it's a bad thing. If this is an opportunity for people of the world to bond together, say enough is enough, stand up for our own rights, stop letting these shady people in charge of the world control how we live our lives. If we're able to have that movement, it was the best thing that ever happened.
Fair enough.
It just depends on how we as people react. And this is not a U.S. issue. This is a global issue.
Absolutely. This is a human issue.
This is everybody.
Absolutely.
Every inch of the world is going through the same problem, which is that there's a few of them and a ton of us. And so far, for the last many years, and probably in our entire lives, the few have been controlling everything.
Well, the talking heads and the Klaus Schwabs of the world have told us in no uncertain terms that this is going to happen again. And if I can quote Bill Gates, he said that when the next, not if, but when the next pandemic comes, we're going to do a better job, essentially. What Bill Gates means by that, I don't know. But I will take a gander and say that we're probably going to be tested sooner rather than later again. And so I wonder how the world's going to respond this time, whether we're going to have mass compliance and bending over, kissing the ring, or whether we're going to have mass protests and mass amounts of people who are saying no. What would you say? Do you think we've had enough transpire and enough suffering where the majority is not going to capitulate? Or are we going to end up with round 2 of lockdowns and it's going to be worse this time? What would you say?
It depends on if people like us who are kind of putting ourselves out there by speaking out, if they can shut us up. And that's our goal, right? To keep us from getting too many places. When I see my account on Instagram and see it blow up, I feel like they're building me up to publicly build me down.
Bro, that's such a weird feeling, isn't it?
That's what I feel. I feel like they're going to let it go, let it get big, and then all of a sudden one day, crush me.
You're just going to get rug pulled.
And they're going to be like, listen to what happens when you speak out. I'm afraid I'm going to be that guy. I do.
Well, let me question you on that. You used the word afraid. I don't think that's the right word. I'm not going to be a grammar Nazi here, but I don't think you're afraid. I think you're supremely curious as to what's going to happen. But you have kind of an expectation, which is not wrong, that there's a great chance that you're going to end up getting shut down. So
I'm very aware that is a probability.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Fair enough. So we're going to obviously continue to do this. There are people that are joining by the droves. We've probably had over 1,000 people join us just in this time that we've been talking here on this podcast. So for those who want to get more involved, for those who are seeing the model that we're trying to espouse here, what would you say to them? Your answer before was a little insufficient, and you said, speak your truth, right? Be open and honest about it. Some people might say, Matt, that's too hard for me. I work at the postal system, or I work at the hospital where it's mainly saturated in, CNN on the screens all the time and leftist policies and leftist ideology. Like, Matt, it's hard for me to do this. What would you say to someone like that who appreciates what we're talking about, wants to liberate themselves a little bit more, but are constrained by society, work, culture, family? How do we help those individuals become part of this movement of free thinkers?
And I know you're baiting me to an answer, and I don't want to give the answer that maybe you want. I think we live by example. we do exactly what we tell people to do, which is speak out, to stand up and call it as it is. And I think if we do that and we lead the charge on it, being willing to put our necks out there first, people are gonna be like, look, like, who are these guys? They're doing it. Why can't I do it? I think that's how we do the movement. I don't want to tell people what to do. I don't want to say, do this or donate here or this. And I know, like, it's crazy because we have so many people coming in and people are like, Matt, like, how are you going to monetize? That's everyone's question.
I know.
And I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't have a plan for that. I just know that we're building something here. I know that I read these messages and I can feel people's hearts. That I can feel that people are legitimately pissed off about how things are going. And I don't want to sell you something. I just don't. I feel like this is so much bigger than that. And I think if we just live our truth, we live exactly what we tell people they should do, I think it just grows organically. And I think that's all it is. I think that's all we can do.
And I really, for those who haven't watched Matt's recent clip, you really need to watch it because I really appreciated your candid honesty on that clip, talking about, I could sell you pills or I could sell you, whatever. I could sell you this program. But I know you, and I loved hearing the fact that that on that clip, you're like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to sell out. And I think, I was talking about the death by 1,000 cuts. All this inbound that you're getting can certainly be that slippery slope where you suddenly, you never wake up and say, I've sold out. But you can progressively sell out over many decisions, right? Suddenly you're going on this show. Suddenly you're on Hannity. Suddenly you didn't say the thing that you really wanted to say because you're on Hannity or you're on, Tucker or something like that. And there's no moment where you're like, I'm sold out. But it's just like, holy shit, I've made 100 decisions that are not in my best interest, right, over the last month. And that can add up, and that's additive and can become pretty powerful over time.
The slippery slope of greed is very hard to avoid.
For sure.
Once you take that first step, it's inevitable you go the whole way. So I think I'm being very conscious to not even take it's like you don't want to take that first taste of crack. Right? It's so hard to get out of it.
I've tried a lot of things except one thing.
So I think that's kind of the idea, and we don't make any money from doing this at all. We've turned off all the monetization, or at least I tried, maybe a few episodes. If we go all the way back, maybe those are still on. But I've tried my best to turn off as much monetization as I can. I don't want to feed people with ads. If you want to consume the content in the long form, you should be able to consume it uninterrupted. This is a very expensive operation to run. It is us doing out of love, out of passion. We've had people just donate to the pod, which is amazing. If you're one of those people, thank you so much. It really does go a long way. We are in the studio in the corner of my office right now. It looks awesome in here, and good job. It does look awesome. I think so.
It looks great. But let's be intellectually honest. Every moment that we're in here, we're not making money.
And we need to move.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We actually are outgrowing this space.
Well, our lease is up. The lease on this space is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to spend more time on this and less time on the business, I have to make sacrifices somewhere. So we're going to go to a smaller office space. We're going to have a nicer studio, I believe. But all this is cost. So, when people do donate, I appreciate it. But I don't know. Because unlimited request for a sponsorship. Can you put me on your stories? Because we have like 20-something thousand people in the stories every day.
Right.
Can you put us in the stories and we will pay you this much? Or can you sell this? Or can you wear this? I'm like,
well, so
I don't know if I do.
Well, let me be devil's advocate and asking maybe.
And people are thinking I'm idiots, by the way. People are like, Matt, you're an idiot. Just take the money. I'm sure there's a ton of people thinking that right
now. Let me quell that shit real quick. So for those of you guys who got it twisted, don't get fucking twisted. Matt's not doing this for the money. Trust me, there are a lot more better ways to make money. This is truly a passion project. But if we're also honest, passion projects do require funding, and we're digging out of our back pocket to make it happen. So I'm going to say the thing that might be awkward because I'm okay with saying it, but would this be an opportunity because the lease is up? We do need to move into a new studio, And frankly, there is more opportunity to provide even more value through what we're doing. Would this be an opportunity for people who are part of the movement and people who enjoy the content that you're creating to help? Is there a way? Is there an avenue? Let's put it this way. Is there an avenue, Matt, for them to be able to help support your new move into a new studio, which I'm super excited to help build, by the way.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh,
and we'll document the whole thing. And
For sure.
It's going to be amazing. And I've got a lot of requests of
So,
what's our
but
setup.
peace. Don't. I know you're starting to move on to the next thing. Look, there are people who genuinely want to help, and I don't think we should. Play me for what you want to play me, but there are people who generally love to give. That's their thing. They love what you're doing. So, is there an avenue in which we could leverage, and we could certainly use the help for the new studio? Is there an option there?
So we do have an opportunity to donate on our website. If you go to the podcast website, mattkimpodcast.com, I think in the corner somewhere, there's a place where you can donate. Everything that we get would obviously go into the building of the new studio. I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I want to run it by you. My Instagram used to be just I had like 40,000 people, but most of the people that are watching my stories on a daily basis were people that knew me or have been following me a long time, or friends and family. And I post pictures of my daughter and my dogs and from like the golf course and things like this, like very personal life stuff.
Life stuff, yeah.
But now, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
Oh,
It's like 20, sometimes 25,000 people watching. Can I put my daughter in there? Like, where's the line on that? That's such a weird, scary thing, and that's something we've never discussed.
we haven't discussed it. I'll give you my perspective. So I got 80,000 people on Twitter. I don't have as many on Instagram, but on Twitter, I don't mind showing pictures of my son go-karting, my daughter doing archery. I never show my wife because that's just a respect thing, but I don't mind showing the kids. Now, I have had people come to me and say, hey, Peter, there's risks in showing your kids. It's like, peace. I understand that. But at the same time, I'm a relatively good parent. And I think for me, within my context and my decision-making, the way that I see it is I'm being a responsible parent. I'm not leveraging my kids for, nefarious things. I'm showing things that I care about, and clearly I care about family, and I don't mind showing it. And if there's any consideration about what I'm showing, at least I'm in control of what's being displayed. Now, my Twitter is a mind dump of my thoughts. So for some people have commented on Twitter, like, you're like all over the place. You talk about Bitcoin mining, and then you're talking about Web3, then you got racing, then you got archery, then you got some whack ass, autism degen shit that you just said, Peter. Like, what is Twitter to you?
And raps.
Yeah, raps, improving the rap game. You guys didn't know I was a rapper. You can find me at ATL downtown Thursday nights, baby. I'm rapping. You didn't know that. No, but for me, Twitter is a mind dump. Whatever I'm thinking about, I post it on Twitter, and that's just what you get. Now, I think for you, for Instagram, you might have to choose the model that you want. I think you're going to have to feel that out. But I think if we were to continue with the theme of free thinking, being honest to ourselves, and being honest about who we are, I think that what you've been doing on Instagram is certainly something that you can continue to do without fear. It really is up to you, though.
I've had a lot of messages from people that are of concern. Matt, you should be careful. There are a lot of crazy people out there. There are a lot of people that really do not like what you are saying. Maybe you should protect your family and not put them online. And the first time I was like, oh, awesome. The second time I was like, okay. After like 100 people saying that to me, I was like, how many crazy people are out there and they're really going to go looking for my kid? And it's like fear porn for myself, right?
Fair enough.
If someone really wanted to find me, they can find me. There's no hiding in the world any longer.
Yeah.
Right? You can find me if you really wanted to find me. But am I like advertising? I don't know. My only concern is the safety of my daughter.
Peace. Fair enough. Absolutely. I think that's the ultimate concern. I think this is one of those things that you and I should continue to socialize and talk about. Because I guarantee you that there are people that watch and listen to this podcast and will continue to watch and listen to this podcast who are dealing with the same thing. And I don't think there's a right size. I don't think there's a one size fit all. I think it really depends on the message that you want to convey, the transparency that you are comfortable with, and you'll find that balance. But I think this is important, that you and I should continue to talk about what that balance is, because it will shift and change as your daughter gets older, as she gets into teenage years, as she becomes a beautiful bombshell at 16.
Golfer.
I mean, you probably don't want to be showing that booty, like
all right,
those
bro,
other,
daughter, bro. Yeah, I mean, and for people listening, this is how our podcasts go. This is us thinking out loud.
Yeah, and we're honest about the realities that we don't know everything. We're not planning everything out here.
These are the real conversations that we would have if the mic was here or it was not here.
Not wrong. Actually, there's so many times we're hanging out in the lounge over there, and we're just like, we should have just we just talked for like an hour. We should have just turned on the camera because it was just as juicy as what we're talking about here. Absolutely.
So what if, and now I'm just thinking out loud, because we have the idea of, let me run inside you behind you.
Sure.
What if I put personal and family stuff behind a paywall? Because that would remove people that are, number one, the trolls.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of trolls in my stores also, that just come in just to troll. If you are trying to do something nefarious, chance of you going behind a paywall is very unlikely, right? You go for the path of least resistance.
Yeah. Ain't nobody going to pay to troll you.
And it's a way for people to support and contribute back to the podcast. That may be an option. Maybe that would be something that would be open to. I'm just thinking out loud because I want to continue to post that stuff. I love my family. There's a lot of people out there who enjoy watching my dogs, watching my daughter grow up. There's a lot of people on Instagram who watch my daughter take her first step, which is crazy.
Yeah, I remember watching that, yeah.
And I don't know. And I enjoy sharing it, but I don't know. And it's safety.
Well, and this isn't a simple way to placate your concerns or your anxiety or your thoughts around this, but I think it's really going to emerge over time, right? As my kids have grown up, I certainly didn't show as much of their early age with kind of random food stuff or what they're doing. It is only when my kids got into activities that I was deeply participating in that I wanted to convey and show to the world that I am a family guy. I care about this stuff. These kids are my world, and I'm actively engaged as a good father and parent in their lives. And so for me, if I were to amalgamate it into really just one model, it would be, for me, I'm willing to show my kids through activities, not through just life. And so I think that category gives me a little bit of safety, and it gives me a little bit of kind of good feeling that I'm not showing intimate moments. It's a very specific and tactical reason where we're racing go-karts or shooting archery, or it's like some family dinner type of thing. So I think it's really going to be an emergent thing that's going to grow and evolve over time. And frankly, I think you're going to get great advice from the people in the community and from listeners and watchers. And someone might just say something that's really juicy. They might say something that's just like, it clicks, it makes sense, this is what I should do. And so much of what we're doing here is an experiment anyway, right? We're not unopposed to the idea of just experimenting and trying things out.
I remember before I had my daughter, and people would show me baby pics. They're like, I don't want to see your baby pic.
Fair enough.
I was that guy.
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
If I have a kid, I am never going to show anybody because I despise those people.
Cringe.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I am that guy where someone says, "Oh, congratulations, you had a daughter." Oh, let me show you.
Bro,
I am that guy.
Bro, come on, man. Like
I am that guy.
I love hearing that though.
And people are like, "Oh,
that's
I'm
so
like, I don't care.
human."
I don't even care if you want to see her or not. You're in front of me. I'm showing you,
bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You see, like I have my daughter as my screen here,
Yeah.
and you open this up, it's my son.
Yeah.
So trust me, I'm with you. Whenever there's an opportunity to bring it up, it's like, here's my daughter. Like, I'm so proud of her. Here's my son.
I'm just such a proud dad. I love my daughter so much, and I enjoy sharing these moments. I'm not like, hey, look at her, or I'm not like, I don't know. It's not even about this is what I am, or this is my dad. I'm just so happy with who she is, how far and quickly she's evolving. I love to watch all the progress, and me and my wife, we put so much work and time into trying to do our best to do all the difficult things to raise her the right way. She gets no screen time, only books.
Good.
She goes to Gymboree and
Gymboree. I love Gymboree.
she goes to Gymboree. She goes swimming lessons. My wife takes
so
her
good.
to library story time at a different library every single day.
It's not drag queen story time.
No drag queens. Here in Georgia, you can, all the libraries will do like a story time, but they don't do it at the same library every week
Yeah.
or every day. So she goes to like 5 different city libraries
Nice.
every day and drives her around just so that she's around books because we want her to be around
Have you been
books.
to the new one over here?
I don't. They go to every single one.
Dude, the new one's nice. We go to it a lot. The new library here, but I'm with you. I think it's one of those things where it's going to grow and evolve. And I have an idea, and I'll run it by you right now, because I've been getting a lot of inbound around fatherhood and a lot of inbound around being a husband in a conservative kind of model. And I'm almost wondering if this might be an opportunity for you to, you talked about a paywall and, family and personal stuff. We could there's no directives here. It's just throwing out ideas. Might be an opportunity for us to pair and go behind the scenes with family men or family women or just family guys, family people who care about those values, where we can go deeper into the family stuff. And we might be able to go deeper into, just the family stuff and how, because let's be honest, times have changed. You and I were raised in the 80s, raised in the early 90s, like the best time on the human planet. Like, we lived in a time before TV, before MTV, before mobile phones. We lived in a time when you went outside and the only thing your parents knew is that you had to come in before dark for dinner. Right? Like, times have changed, buddy. And so I think there's a lot of people, especially new parents and new husbands and new wives and new fathers, that are wondering, like, how do we raise our children with conservative models, with conservative values, these types of things? So this might be an opportunity to say, you know what? If you want access to the family and personal stuff, you and I might pair on it. I'm just throwing this out there. You and I could pair on it, and we could discuss that with intimate groups and people that care about that. Just an idea, because that's something that you and I talk about so much, and it oozes out of us in these podcasts. People have commented. It's like, clearly you guys care about family values. It's like, damn straight.
Probably the most enjoyable conversations we ever have are when we talk about family.
Bro, absolutely.
We talk about politics. We touch on politics. We touch on news stories. We touch on personal responsibility, on what it means to be a man, how to be better. These are things that we talk about all the time. Our favorite topic is family.
Oh, no doubt.
And there are not many grown men that have gone through the ups and downs that we have, that have conservative values, that raise their children in a very conservative way. So I think there's something there. I think that's interesting. That's something that I wish I had going into fatherhood.
You know what?
I think that's something I think about too. Like, if I was when my wife was pregnant and I was thinking, oh, damn, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right?
I've been there, bro. I get it.
Especially the first time. Well, me, I only have one. You, multiple. What would I like to have consumed? And some of it's very private. My journey to having our first child was long. We took 10 years to have our first child.
I know.
And, it's a story, but maybe not a story I want to put out there to like everybody. It's a little private.
Yeah, but
I want to share it because I think, some of those stories can help other people that are going through similar situations.
And frankly, it's part of the tapestry of your human experience. Like, you can't remove that as a major time period in your life that you'll look back when you're 70, 80, 90 years old, and you'll be telling amazing stories about the struggle and the sufferings of what you had to go through to have this a beautiful daughter, and this amazing family you have now. And I think that there's a lot of people that are out there that would not only love to hear the story, but number two, are struggling with similar issues. And number three, just want to be encouraged because frankly, it's free to get smut. It's free to get terrible advice. It's free. Like I saw this clip the other day of this OnlyFans girl. You probably saw this as well, where she was like, they were talking about what happens if your kids see, your vagina, and she literally is like, well, they can cry in a Ferrari. Did you see that clip?
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Scar for life.
Like, there's got to be a counterpoint. Someone out there who's like, you know what? Crying in a Ferrari because I saw my mom who's flashing everything around is probably not the best model. So maybe, just maybe, we're touching on something that we should explore more. And for those who are out there who are listening, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let us know if there are ideas that you would love us to cover. We're always watching. We're always listening. We're always reading as many comments as possible. So the more inbound that we get, the more ideas we can mull over.
This week has been crazy. I don't know if we'll hit this boom again. I do know that the short time we have in being relevant, I want to do the best that we can.
So what's your message then? Now that we got the spotlight on you, what's the message as we're rolling this podcast episode out? What would be the message to everybody out there who've joined just recently, have just got a sniff of what Matt Kim's all about? What would you say to them?
Life is not about all the flash. It's not about all the clout chasing. It's really about being as good of a person as you can. Help the people around you. Quick story. The other day, we were at the office, and there was a older lady dressed in all black. She must have been 80 years old, just standing in front of the door. And we're like, oh, she's kind of standing there. Looks a little lost, but you don't like strangers into your office these days. That's not a thing you do.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was like, what if that was been my grandmother?
What if it was Jesus?
So I went out, and people in the office were like, oh, I don't know if you should let her in. Like, she could be crazy. And just randomly wandering. She could be homeless. I don't know. Do you really want her in the office? I don't know. It just felt like something I had to do. So I went out there. I invited her in, brought her inside, let her sit down, gave her a phone charger, gave her some water, and sat there. And she was waiting for her friend. Just happened to be there. And I sat there and I talked with her for, 2 hours.
While really?
We waited. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's a long-ass wait.
I had a lot of stuff to get done. But had that been my grandmother, lost, waiting, I would hope someone would do that for her. And I think that's really what I encourage people to do. Be selfless. Just a little bit. They're working so hard to dehumanize us, to make us just a number. Eat the fake chicken, right? Eat the bugs, eat the fake chicken, plug these devices straight in your brain, consume and believe what I tell you. We swear we're not lying to you. We have your best interest. We're from the government and we're here to help.
Yep. Famous last words.
And just be human again. Help people. We are always talking about anti-establishment and we don't like the idea of big government. I truly believe that if people had the opportunity to pay less taxes and have more money, people would willingly give more to good causes.
Yes, there have been significant studies that have shown that the more that government intervenes in nonprofit considerations, in charitable ideas, in charitable movements, that the less people are willing to give. It's this fascinating idea that if you, and this fills up a lot of what we care about, which is less government. Less government, more people will be generally willing to support the Red Cross or support Charity Water or support these nonprofit initiatives. But the more that the behemoth of government that comes into these charitable areas and arenas and markets of life, less people are willing to give. And so I am absolutely a big fan of big government getting out of the charitable world and allowing people to give from their hearts and be humans rather than say, well, big government's taking care of everybody now, right?
People are smart. People are loving, caring, resilient. We will take care of our own, given the opportunity. So I think that's really what I encourage people to do. Do something selfless for yourself. Do something selfless for someone else today. I remember when I was in New York. I used to live in New York City, and I would take the bus or the train every day. And I did about a year of every single day I get on the subway or train, I'm going to try to do something for somebody else. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving someone else your seat. And I started doing that, and I felt really good after a while. It was amazing. I don't know why I stopped doing that, but it was a conscious effort that I made. And nowadays, you go and you see New York City, the elderly are standing.
Dude, it's a dog eat dog world up there. In most cities, it's like, I'm not looking out for anybody but number one, right?
You see these clips of people fighting and getting beat or randomly attacked on a subway, and everyone, including grown-ass men, are standing there with their phone just watching.
That hurts my soul, man.
And when I see that, I'm like, this is not what it's supposed to be.
It hurts my soul when I see big, burly, like men who are literally standing by the wayside and not helping out. We've talked about this before, and certainly in the height of the emotion, the speed of everything happening, certainly you and I would consider like, okay, I'm with my family, I'm with my kids. Maybe I shouldn't intervene here because I could end up getting cut, right? Get it, understood. But at the same time, it's easy for us to pass judgment, and at the same time, it makes you wonder, like, dadgummit, bro, why were you so willing just to throw up the phone and record it instead of helping out? So that's almost how this propaganda and this world, this social world have moved us to not only being consumers, but they've moved us to being consumer providers. And it's like, don't help out, just record instead, right?
Those are the moments I realize that the propaganda machine, that the establishment, that they are winning. When I see grown men give up all their integrity, all their morals, all their values, and they stand there like a sheep.
Did you see the recent video of the soy boy who got a guy arrested? And when this is in Georgia. This is a Georgia clip, Will. There's a man who was accosted by, let me just make it clear. It was a white man who was accosted by a mentally unstable black man, and the black man was telling him he was going to kill him, and he had a knife. The white guy called the cops. The cops arrested the black man with the knife. And the white man goes to the cops and starts crying. What is he saying? He's saying, I didn't want you to arrest him. And the cop was like, he was threatening your life with a knife. And the guy was like, but he's going to think I'm racist. Will, this shit happened. It happened. Gotta find the daggone clip. Literally, this guy was soy boy with so much soy in his veins, was literally like, don't arrest him. And the cop was like, he was threatening your life with a knife. And the guy's, his voice goes 3 octaves higher, and he's like, don't arrest him. He's going to think I'm racist. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
We believe in traditional masculine men.
Please,
It is our responsibility to be strong.
Be strong.
It is our responsibility to provide for the families.
Have a spine.
It is our responsibility to protect those that we love.
Yes.
This is something that is unquestionable to us. Protect your own. And not only do you protect your own, but protect your neighbors. If you do that for other people, society just improves overall.
Absolutely.
Then we don't need big government to tell us how to live our lives. We can self-manage to a pretty good extent.
And most of it's local. Good in your local community.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it starts.
So if there's any message for the day, think for yourself, protect each other.
Be good to others.
That's it.
And you know what? If I can top that off, what is really encouraging, humbling, and at the same time exciting is that all of this viral success that you've had with no monetary incentive, no political agenda, none of that, if I could say to your benefit and maybe to your ego, Matt, is that you're living out the model of being a good person, speaking your truth, dadgummit, it might just be successful.
And to be clear, I did not live my life like this.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing how you can actually be and we're on this trajectory now, but you could actually be successful by being a good human. Oh, Say it ain't so.
I spent a lot of my life being extremely degenerate, right?
We've had our moments, certainly.
A lot of drinking, a lot of partying.
No one's perfect.
And I don't know, having a daughter changes your worldview.
Not wrong.
And I just want to leave the world a better place than I found it. Leave the world a better place for my daughter and her daughters and her daughters. And if what we do makes even the smallest of difference, I think it's all worth it.
I agree. And if I can, again, stroke your ego, I know you are, because you're responding to thousands of comments that are, he doesn't need to respond to all your comments, guys, but he does. And he does it all the way into the middle of the bloody night to do it. So absolutely, you're living a living model of being a good person. And I think it's paying off. I think people are seeing it. I think people are respecting it. I think people are enjoying it.
Thank you, Peter.
Absolutely. It's always good to be here.
Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day.
See you guys. Good podcast, man.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
I think that was good. I think we talked about what I really wanted to talk about. I think
I was kind of pushing a little bit for the sponsorship.
I know you are, and I know that you have the best interest of what's going on. And, money would help, but I think it has to build. I think if it builds to like more organic, stick to what we really
I sense that.
then I think we don't have to worry about it. It's one of those where I build it, they will come. And obviously, I would love for this to be what I do for the rest of my life.